Welcome to this distant replay of Sganarelle, a one-act play by Moliere. This is the director, Walter Kotrba. The play concerns Georgibus, a father and his daughter Célie, whom he has promised in marriage to Lélie, but now changes his mind, finding a richer suitor for her, one who would make a better husband. He explains to her that, after all, money can make up for any man's faults, and you need to marry him and meet him tonight, whether you like it or not. Célie's companion, the maid, advises her to follow her father's wishes. After all, you don't want to end up like me, with a poor husband. But Lélie is so handsome as they look at his likeness that she just passes away, afraid that he may be unfaithful to her on his trip abroad. Meanwhile, her next-door neighbor Sganarelle arrives to see if he can be of any assistance. While he intends well, he clearly doesn't seem to know what he's doing. And in trying to revive her, gets so close to her that he's overseen by his wife, who becomes instantly inflamed with jealousy. He picks up Célie and returns her to her house, as the wife comes out and finds the locket that Célie has dropped. She admires the good-looking man inside, and when Sganarelle re-enters, he sees his wife admiring this picture and is filled with jealousy himself. He goes over and grabs the locket, accuses her of perfidy. As they argue the veracity of his claim, she snatches back the locket and says not to think about her, and he says, "Ha ha, I'll get that locket back." Meanwhile, Lélie finally returns from his trip abroad based on the rumor he's heard that his intended Célie is going to marry the ugliest man in the world, and it's tormenting him. His valet, Gros only can think about where his next meal is coming from. He's reprimanded by his master. Nevertheless, he's exhausted from the long trip, and Lélie gives him permission to go have something to eat. Sganarelle returns from the house having regained possession of the locket, and when Lélie sees this, he assumes that this is the man, the ugliest man in the world, who is intending to marry his beloved, and he screams at her house in anger, making himself sick to the stomach. Out runs Sganarelle's wife, eager to help, picks up Lélie and leads him into her house. Meanwhile, Sganarelle has gone to consult with a relative who advises him to go slowly. "Rashness leads us to mistakes," she says. Peggy Ellis, playing the part of the relative, here is barely able to contain her laughter as she goes off stage. Then Steve Hussey goes on, thinking this is a logical piece of advice until he sees Lélie emerge from his own house in his wife's company. Convinced she is having this affair with him, he is very upset at the fact that he's been made a cuckold. Lélie is upset, but gallant, in saying to him, "You're a lucky man to have such a beautiful wife," and exits. Célie, seeing this, emerges from her house. She hurls 17th century invective upon Lélie, making Sganarelle so glad that someone's taking his side. She vows vengeance on Lélie by agreeing to marry her father's choice, which makes him so overjoyed he kisses everyone in sight, including the maid. Sganarelle comes, though, angry and armed to the teeth, with his sword and a helmet. But when confronted by Lélie, he really can't bring himself to do anything but to sort of back off. He tries to psych himself up. Célie comes out, and Lélie decides to tell her how upset he is, how she's ruined his life, and as he leaves and Sganarelle charges, they rush into each other's arms accidentally. We filmed this 3 times just to make sure we got it right. However, the maid, having seen everything from a neutral standpoint, tells all of the lovers the truth, and they are all united, all except for the fact that there still remains one major obstacle. That is the father, who expects Célie to go through with the marriage. Moliere, of course, however, is the expert at Deus Ex Machina. It turns out the intended is already married, Ah, children these days. And Sganarelle says, you know what? Convincing evidence may lead to wrong conclusions. And the cast, instead of striking him in the head, goes into their bow and a dance, a 17th century dance for the king. Following the filming, the cast engages in some revelry and some fun. Steve Hussey, who had nothing but problems with that wig, decides to take out some of his frustrations on it. This was a very talented group of young people who provided the core of those first years in Chatham, and it was an invigorating experience to go to New Hope, Pennsylvania, to the historic Bucks County Playhouse to perform this play. Doug Reynolds was Georgibus, Carol Brown, Celie, Chris Perry the maid. Peggy Ellis appeared as the relative, and Kerry Barringer essayed the part of Lelie. Mark Gowdy, for his role as Gros Rene, won a Critics Award for Best Cameo Performance. Diane Conklin was Best Supporting Actress as the wife. Steve Hussey won the Best Actor Award as Sganarelle. Walter Kotrba won the Best Director Award, and the entire company got the Loving Cup as the best production of the day. We hope you enjoyed this look back at really some wonderful memories and a wonderful time at Chatham High School.